theorists, and we're in the same room.
Finally. Actually, the first time we've met. It's going to be amazing.
We're doing a battle report, Kings of War, and this is the 2-player box set that I reviewed, the Sands of Ahmun. I should be playing as Ogres, which I've painted.
I'm going to be the Empire of Dust, which are not painted, but we are going to do, well, Gaz is going to give me a painting tutorial, because I'm new to model painting, so that is going to be coming up on our channel as well. If it's not already up, just go and check that out and see how I get on painting for the first time under Gaz's tutelage.
And also we're using the terrain that I've been making in my 2-minute terrain videos, so don't forget to go back and watch them. Let's see how it goes.
So turn 1 was my turn first. Now before we actually started, we did roll a d6 to see who went first, and I did win that roll. So as you can see, I'm taking this first turn. So as you can see, I was moving up my archers first, putting them into position. Now all of the Sands of Ahmun units in this particular 2-player set, the Sands of Ahmun, all have shambling. So that means they can't at the double, so they only able to use their 5-inch movement range. So I was just making sure, just moving them up as best they can, just to make sure that immense kind of 2-foot range of those archers get into range and make sure we can hit those units that are oncoming. We really don't want those ogres to get into melee range. So then all I did after that was just move the skeleton regiment into a kind of more of a defensive position to try and cover the archers, and then after that just bring up the spearmen, spear skellies, however you want to refer to them as, up behind the archers to help them cover on that side, and the cavalry revenants, or revenant cavalry, whichever you want to call it, will hold and not move this particular round. The only ranged attack that the Empire of Dust can make is the archers, and they are going to fire against the boomers on that top side there, as you can see. Now the archers are hitting on a 5+, and just getting 2 in there on that ranged roll, and then rolling to damage once we've got those dice out of the way. Give it a roll. Oh, that one's spinning for a while, but oh, just the one damage on that one. But first turn is an easy nerve test to make.
So it was time for revenge. Now, I was protecting the farmstead, so I had all of the obstacles in my way. I was going to bring my boomers up first to try and get into range. Unfortunately, the boomers have a much shorter range, much more powerful, but much shorter range. So even moving over the wall still didn't get me close enough to shoot. I then thought I would just charge in and attack with my warriors, but I was reminded by Thomas, who is new to the game, that I can't do this because I was going over difficult terrain. So I could only move my standard movement, which I believe was 12 inches, planting me fully into the middle of the field. I then moved my sexy little warlord up and followed him with my warriors with 2-handed weapons, but unfortunately not in range of any attacks.
Thankfully, because yeah, we don't want those boomers to get in range. So all I did on this turn was then move up my skeleton warriors into a covering position behind this little tree line to help protect the archers. The spearmen will hold whilst the cavalry then move up behind the epic Star Trek rock. And waiting for the ogres to move up. Meanwhile, the archers, the only ranged attack being made against their boomers yet again. So rolling 5s to hit. Unfortunately, off all those 8 dice, only 1 hit, which is pretty rubbish. So then, once we get the dice out of the way, rolling to hit. Yeah, hit that 1. Damaging an extra 1. Is nerve test an easy pass yet again.
So, time to move forward again. Now, unfortunately, my warriors with a sword and shield are still in difficult terrain, so they can't quite reach for melee. My boomers, on the other hand, should be able to just about make it. My warlord and my two-handed warriors also are going to be short. So I'm going to move my warlord up just a smidge so I can bring my warriors up behind him so he's got a bit of cover. And then I'm going to bring my boomers up to hopefully within range of Tom's skeleton warriors, which they do just about got eye line around the tree. Can't quite get to the archers, so we're going to have a punt at the warriors. Rolling a +4 to hit and absolutely smashed it. That's 7 hits on his skeleton warriors. And now I'm going to roll those to damage and see what we can do. And 1 flies off the table, lands on a 1. Tom happily lets me roll it again and then instantly regrets it when I roll a 6. So that's 4 damage on his skeleton warriors. And a relatively easy nerve test for Tom. And yeah, smashed it. So we're all still in the game.
Right, I start getting a little nervy at these ogres rapidly approaching now that they're out of difficult terrain. So we very cautiously reverse our archers back up in trying to make sure I don't catch any spearmen on the way. And that will do nicely. That allows the spearmen to then charge up into melee straight into those ogre warriors that are approaching. Only just, mind you. Only just in that 5-inch range, but they can do it. And then square up. And then that also then allows the skeleton warriors to do an easy flank straight into the side of those ogre warriors there as well. A little bit of a risky move, opening my flank up to those boomers. I felt it was a worthwhile risk trying to focus fire on those ogre warriors bearing down on us. Now it was also time for the cavalry to charge up, an 8-inch move, bringing it right up to the side of the smaller ogre warrior units. But then I move up the Ammonet Pharaoh just enough. There you go. Just so then I get line of sight on my cavalry there. So that means that during the range turn I can cast Surge on them. So this is me casting Surge on a 4+, giving me more than enough extra movement range to then allow those cavalry to charge into the side of those there, giving a nice flanking maneuver there. That's exactly what you want cavalry to be doing. So then also in the ranged, I'm going to be getting the archers yet again to have a go at those boomers. Rolling the 8 attack dice, only 3 hitting as usual. I've not been doing great with the rolls on the archers, but damaging 2, which is the best roll I've done for damage with those archers. But that is an absolutely terrible nerve roll for those boomers, meaning that they have routed.
And there they go, before I've even got a chance to take my revenge.
Yeah.
Flank his soldiers.
Get off. Get
I've
going.
lost my first unit.
Give you a nice aerial shot of the battlefield as it stands. Rather worried looking ogre warriors over there. First melee attack. I decided to attack with the spearmen first, front facing. It's a terrible roll. Truly, truly terrible. Hitting on 5+. Just 3 hits. Rolling to damage on a 5+ because they've got shields and get none. None whatsoever.
Strong defense there from my shield warriors.
Beneficial having shields there on the front line unit. But flanking unit next. Lots of dice there. And a much, much better roll. This is still on 5 pluses, but there's a lot of 5s in there. Adding them all up.
Tactical playing Kings of War there being flanked allows Tom to roll twice as many attacks as he normally would. So that was a smart move by him there, put in danger of my boomers, but then killed my boomers, so it didn't matter.
Oh, worthwhile risk reward going on there. So yes, I managed to get a decent 4 hits there, but it's still been the only damage that those warriors have taken past their nerve test. This is the big one. Cavalry into the flank. A rather satisfying 32 dice to hit. On a 5 plus again. Still a massive amount of hits, rolling 32 dice. How many did I actually hit on that? A lot. Lots and lots.
As the orcs would say, many 6.
Many. And then rolling only 4s to hit these ogre warriors because they do not have shields. And that was a lot of damage. I think that was 14 damage there, which means it's automatic rout. Doesn't matter what you rolled on your nerve test, they were gone.
Don't even get to roll my dice. Ruined. Now, I am in serious trouble here. That's another unit gone. And I need to do something serious. So I decide, instead of just attacking the unit that I'm facing, I decide to recharge and pivot and attack the warriors that have already got wounds, thinking that there's a possibility that I might be able to take them out. Obviously exposing my flank, but I was going to be exposed one way or another. Then my warlord has an ability called Nimble, which means he can pivot twice on his movement phase, which meant that I just had enough movement to get to the side of the cavalry and flank them, doubling my attacks. I've got to really do something here with the dice if I've got any chance of making a comeback, and I do. What a roll. What an excellent roll. That is a hell of a lot of hits. Now all I've got to do is try and wound. So that was a double up because it was a flank. And again, an excellent roll. I can smell a comeback here. I may be the underdog right now, but I think if I keep rolling like this, and he's passed. Only just, but he has passed. Damn it. Oh well. On to the warriors. So this is my warriors facing off against Tom's warriors. And again, with my crushing strength that my ogres have, it reduces his defense. Oh, it's another excellent roll. Flanking roll, so double the dice again. A massive amount of hits. And my crushing strength reducing Tom's defense by 1. So I'm damaging on a 3+ again. And these are already wounded. Oh yes, and that is a lot of damage to an already wounded. Definitely paid off countercharging there and pivoting. That's going to be a tough one for Tom to do. And he doesn't. They're gone.
First unit down. All in all, I'm happy with the exchange. So, my spearmen take 1 step back and recharge. And the Ammonet mummy comes and joins in the gap where the warriors once stood. Get stuck in there, lad. And the cavalry also recharges, turn into face, straight into the epic threat, which is the Ogre Warlord. And so we'll deal with that first. Cavalry attack into the front face. A mediocre roll, I feel, from that one. Hitting on 4s, it's still reasonable. I need to do a decent amount of damage here. He's not taking any damage yet. Well, you know, it's decent. Oh, but that was the worst possible nerve roll you can do. But he is inspiring, so he can inspire himself. So he does just that and re-rolls. And that's unfortunately a pass after that.
Yes, it's a handy little skill that.
Sure, you needed it, or else you were gone. You would have been serious trouble. So Ammonette Mummy up next. This is into the front face. It doesn't have as much of an attacking force in melee, but does have crushing strength. So does have that extra ability to cause damage for those that do hit. And there we go. I do think that was all of those hit there. And that was an easy pass. Well, this is into the flank now. These spearmen having to make up for doing no damage to them last time. But that was a much, much better roll.
Nobody wants to see that many dice being rolled when you've barely got any units left on the battlefield.
That's true. What's the power of flanking? Even a minor unit can be turned into a force to be reckoned with. So lots of 5s and 6s there. Quick count up and reroll. Then 2 hits. Well, with shields it is only a 2 hits, but it's going to be a much harder roll now. And that is your unit gone.
The defeat is pungent in my nostrils as I realise that all I've got left is my warlord. And what can I possibly do? Well, it's a counter charge, isn't it? I mean, he's there, I'm here. Let's give him a thump. Now, I didn't have enough movement to use my double pivot to get round and flank him, so it is just a face on. Not the best roll when you've only got a few dice, but a fair few thumps.
Unfortunately, 2+, it's your warlord does some serious hitting.
And that's a failed nerve test. The horses are gone. Let's see
brave,
if I can
brave
push
cavalry
back with the one man. Come on, warlord, you can do it.
They served me so very well, but they've gone. So
off to the glue factory with you.
There are only bones left to them anyway.
Oh,
So yeah, the archers, they just pivot and advance just enough to get within line of sight of the ogre warlord. Only just, thankfully, since though they can't at the double. Again, spearmen advancing as much as they can around the massive boulder. As even though the Ammonette Pharaoh can at the double, decides not to, sticks with his unit, probably the best choice at this point. So then, ranged attack, archers laying in. The regular 8 dice did reasonable that time. 3 hits on the ogre warlord. Then roll into damage. Come on! One damage on that one. And he rolls. Oh, that was unnerved.
He is unnerved. He's still on the field, but there's not much he can do. He's lost his bottle.
Not quite routed yet, though. It's getting tricky for him now. But the Pharaoh casts Surge once again on... this time on the spearman. Just a handful of inches further forward, but... So I turn... just excuse my bald spot. Ever expanding. 2 inches further forward, pivot, and then a 2 inches again. And that is about all it can do.
Now, as I can't charge, all I can do is move to one side and get ready for the next turn.
It's looking unlikely at this point
bleak.
now.
It's bleak for the ogres.
It is a little bit now at this point. The archers just advance ever so slightly and reposition just to get a better view. The spearmen just in their 5-inch movement range of advancing. Gary agrees that it is close enough to warrant charging in. We were debating a little bit as to whether the charge could actually still be at double the movement range despite this unit being shambling. If you could just, if anybody's out there and clear that up for us, please let us know. We thought you probably could do it, but we were debating it a little bit, so please, yeah, just clear that up for us if you can. And yeah, and the Pharaoh does at the double just to catch up a bit. The archers first then, ranged attack. Does a reasonable hit that time again, 3 hits. Aiming to damage again on 4s. One more damage. The archers aren't massively damaging, but they do chip away quite a lot at a very decent range.
And he still lives.
He does. That was a good nerve test there. So, spearmen have at him front face. And that was a good roll. Needed that one. Rolling on 5s. That was a good half of my dice hitting.
Yes, my warlord's like a pincushion right now. Many spears.
And rolling to damage, getting 3 more in there. Oh, and that is a fail. So then, inspiring reroll, and it's still not enough.
Yay! Absolute whitewash. In my house, my game, my table, and he's never played before.
Told you.
Disgusting.
I did warn you.
Absolutely disgusting. And he's been smack talking all week, and he said he was going to beat me.
I have.
And he not only beat me, he beat me with a considerable margin. He's still got his archers on the table unwounded. He's still got his warlord on the table unwounded, and he's got his spearmen
Unwounded.
unwounded as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're my dice. Bloody hell! What a massacre!
Thoroughly enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed watching our battle
I
as
did.
well. Well, I hope you did at least. But hopefully we'll get some more games in at least. Well,
Not in my house.
maybe at mine. You never know. You have to bring it to mine and try and beat me at mine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We're an away rematch.
Yeah.
I suffered the home defeat.
Right, until then, take care, stay nerdy.